Thanks for joining us here at Functional Bliss, where Audra and Jessica will guide you through exercises and wellness techniques to help you live your best life every day. It's in the name, after all, Functional Bliss. Before you do anything else, click like and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll know whenever we put up a new video. To join our Blissful Gang for live Zoom classes where you can get more direct suggestions and encouragement, go to our website and sign up. Check the class description below for any equipment needs, grab your gear, and let's get started.
So coming down onto your back, take your time as you come down. Find your constructive rest position. Feet slightly wide, knees dropped in towards each other, hands wherever feels the most comfortable. Once you've got yourself into your constructive rest position, just give your body a moment, let your muscles soften and relax into the ground. Maybe just for this morning, rather than closing your eyes down, just keep your eyes open and just focus your gaze upward towards your ceiling. And then see if you can keep that steady focused gaze just looking upward towards the ceiling, and just notice your peripheral vision. Notice how far to the edges you can see without having to move your eyes. And then as you look up towards the ceiling, maybe just for a moment, offer up a little bit of gratitude for the ceiling above you, the floor beneath you, the walls around you. A little bit of gratitude for the safe space that you have to work in. And then maybe at this point, if it feels beneficial to do so, you'll close your eyes down for just a moment and then just allow your body to feel your floor beneath you, feel your mat beneath you, notice your feet. And if you're holding any tension in your toes, if you're gripping in your toes, or if you're just trying to hold your feet in a certain position, give your feet and your toes a little wiggle and then find a really soft landing for your feet. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Right hand's going to reach over and across to find the left rib. So we're going to get a handhold on the left side of the ribs. And then once you've got a handhold on the left side of your ribs, just notice your breath here. Breathe into your rib cage, nice full breath. One more cycle of breath, breathing into your rib cage, noticing your handhold. But then we're going to slide the right hand just slightly across so that your hand finds your solar plexus and maybe the edge of your rib cage. So think about where that curve of your rib cage is. Find your solar plexus, feel the rib cage, feel your solar plexus, and then see if you can breathe into your rib cage, but notice that gentle bit of movement underneath your hand. And then when you're ready, release your right hand, and then left hand's going to reach over and across, finding the right side rib. So your left hand's going to reach over, spread your fingers as wide as you can, relax your arm in a good position, and then just focus on the breath in the rib cage again. noticing the movement underneath your left hand. Take one more moment here, just noticing that movement of breath in your rib cage. And then when you're ready, slide that left hand just to the solar plexus. So you may feel that ridge of the ribs, feeling that soft portion of the solar plexus. And then once you've got your handhold, take a moment to just let your hand be comfortable. And then breathe back into your rib cage, but notice the movement of breath underneath your hand. Take one more breath here. And then from here, we're going to bring our arms into our I Dream of Genie arms, or our square across the chest. So lift your arms up, find a handhold where you can hold onto your elbows, and then pause for a moment before we move our I Dream of Genie arms. With that little handhold holding onto your elbows, take a moment here. So for me, when I get my I Dream of Genie arms, my shoulder heads kind of want to round up so that they can move into that space. But now see if you can just for a moment, let your shoulder heads anchor back down into the ground. Notice your touch on your elbows. See if you can just come back to a breath awareness in the rib cage. And then see if you can keep your shoulder heads kind of anchoring down and start to pull your elbows side to side, which may limit your range of motion. So with your shoulder heads anchored down or your scapula anchored down, whichever way gets you to a point where you can feel that sort of idea of the shoulders anchoring into the ground, pull the elbows a little bit side to side. And now allow the shoulder heads or the scapula to move a little bit more freely, which means your shoulder heads might round, and see if you can find just a little bit more range of motion, pulling the elbows across the midline of the body. And then once you've got that kind of free fluid movement of your elbows or the shoulders, now see if you can add a head turn as well. So as your elbows pull in one direction, your head is going to turn in the opposite direction. One more pull of the elbows side to side, and then head's going to come back to a neutral position, but now we're going to slide the arms in a little bit closer. So elbows are now going to be stacked, hands are going to find the shoulder heads, and then once you got your handhold, as you inhale, elbows are going to lift up towards the face, and then as you exhale, elbows are going to pull down towards the abdomen. And then see if you can just connect that breath and movement. Inhale as you lift up, and exhale as you pull down. Take 3 more cycles of breath. Finish this last cycle of breath, and then as your elbows come into a slightly neutral position, float your arms out nice and wide into cactus or goalpost and take 3 gentle turns of your head just to create a little space in the shoulders, find a slightly neutral position. And then once you've taken those 3 turns of the head, as your head returns to center, we're going to come back to our I Dream of Genie arms, but bring your other arm on top. So whichever arm was just on top in your cross, that'll probably be the opposite arm will come on top for your I Dream of Genie arms. Take a couple of pulls side to side, let your head turn in the opposite direction of your elbows. And then as your arms and your head come to center, slide your arms in so you find your shoulder heads, elbows stacked. And then once you've got those stacked elbows, move back with your breath. Inhale as the elbows lift, exhale as the elbows draw down. One more cycle of breath. And then as your elbows come to that neutral position, float your arms up into cactus or goalpost arms. Arms are going to stay in that cactus or goalpost arm, but give a second to just kind of get your shoulder heads arranged, your scapula arranged. Make sure that your upper body feels like it's in a soft neutral position, which also could mean that your elbows drop a little bit. So find the place where you have the least amount of effort in the upper part of the body. And then once you've found that, start by just bringing your awareness down to your toes. Notice your toes, give them a little wiggle. And then move with the breath. As you inhale, lift your toes and spread your toes as wide as you can. And then as you exhale, see if you can drum down through the toes. So think pinky toes and then work down all the way up to the big toe. So imagine that you're drumming your fingers, but do it through your toes and start with the pinky toe. So lift your toes and then drum through your toes. Lift your toes and drum through your toes. Lift with the inhale. Exhale as you drum the toes. Lift with your inhale. Exhale, drum your toes. Do that one more time through. And now take a second to just kind of relax, because sometimes even just focusing on spreading the toes or focusing on drumming through the toes can create a little tension. So wiggle some things out. We're going to come back to that, but this time we're going to see if we can drum through going big toe first. So it might be a little bit more awkward, or it might be a lot easier. So you'll take a moment to just shake it out, and then inhale, lift your toes. Exhale, drum through the toes, big toe leads the way. Inhale, lift your toes. Exhale, drum through your toes. And take 3 more times through, just finding your breath's rhythm. Nice. And then when you finish that last drumming through, we're going to lift the heels, but keep your knees dropped in towards each other. So as you inhale, gently lift your heels away from the floor. And then as you exhale, float your heels back down. Inhale and lift your heels away. Exhale and float your heels down. Take 3 more cycles of breath. Just move with your breath's rhythm. On this last one, as your heels touch down, now we're going to separate the knees just slightly. And then as you inhale, you're going to lift toes and the balls of the feet, but hold a little tension so you feel a little engagement in the muscle that runs up along the side of your shin. And then exhale and soften down. Inhale, lift, hold, and squeeze. Exhale and soften down. Inhale, lift, hold, and squeeze. Exhale, soften down. 2 more times through, find your pace. And then as your feet soften down here, start to find little micro windshield wipers. So just a light, tiny swish of the knees side to side. And then we'll slowly start to increase that range of motion. So if it feels good, you'll readjust where your feet are set, which for some of us, it may feel like a closer position of the feet, and for some of us, a wider position of the feet. So start to find the place where your feet are happiest in your windshield wipers. And then once you've got your feet in place, increase your range of motion, but take your time. Awesome. Now, the next time your knees drop over to the right, let them sink all the way down, and we're going to take 3 pelvic tilts here. So you move as much range of motion as you can find, curl the tailbone under, and then release to the fairly neutral curve of your back, whatever that feels like here. And then once you've completed your 3 pelvic tilts, pick your knees up, drop them over to the other side, let your knees sink down. And then once you found that happy position there, take 3 pelvic tilts here. Nice. And then once you've completed that third, come back to your big windshield wipers, swishing side to side. One more swish of those knees side to side. And then as your knees come back to center, walk your feet in a little bit closer so feet are about hip width distance apart. And now we're going to pick up our hands, float them down alongside the hips with the palms facing down. We're going to slide the fingers down like you're reaching your fingers towards your heels. So you're going to feel your shoulder heads depress a little bit. and then bring them back into a soft and neutral position. Reach your fingertips toward your heels, feel your shoulder heads depress, and then release. Reach your fingers toward your heels, and then release. And now we're going to go right hand, but as we go right hand, you're going to turn your head to the left. So right hand's going to reach towards your right heel, but turn your head to the left, and then bring it back in. Reach your fingertips towards your right heel, turn your head to the left, bring it back in. Do that one more time. Reach your fingers towards your heel, turn your head to the left, bring it back in, switch to the other side. Left hand reaches towards the left heel, head turns to the right, bring it back in, reaching down as the head turns to the right, bring it back in. Do that one more time. Reach and turn. Bring it back in, and now we're going to start some alternating knee pulls. So right knee and then the left, we're just pulling the knee in towards the chest. Find a little bit of a rhythm here. Go at a pace that makes sense to you, but kind of tune in and notice. How does your back feel? How do your thighs feel? How does your hips feel? Now, for some of us, this might feel great, and you might choose to stay with this double bent knee position. But if this is feeling good and now you want to take it a little further, as the right knee comes in, left leg is going to slide nice and long. Maybe your heel hovers, and then you switch. And then see if you can coordinate with the breath. Exhaling as you squeeze in, inhaling as you switch. Take one more time each side, or even yourself out, and then bring both knees into your chest. Grab the backs of your thighs. We're going to start with a light little rock and roll. So take your time, go super small to start, and then find a little bit more motion, working from the tailbone towards the top of the head. Take your time. And then when you feel ready, catch a little momentum, come up to a seated position, and then in that seated position, hold on to your knees, heart comes forward, tuck your chin down, and take 3 nice deep breaths here. Once you've completed that last breath, lift your head, but we're going to hold on to those knees and hang back. So tuck your tailbone under, round your back, tuck chin into chest, and then lift up, restack the spine, lift your chin upward. Tuck your chin down, curl the tailbone under, round your back, hang onto your knees, get a little bit of space between the shoulder blades, and then lift yourself up, restack your spine, lift your chin up. Tuck your chin down, curl the tailbone under, round back, hang onto those knees, take a full cycle of breath. Awesome. And then lift up, restack your spine. Now let go of your knees, crisscross your legs, come into your Sukhasana position. Once you've got your Sukhasana that makes sense to you, even if that means placing a blanket under your butt to cushion your butt, cushion your ankles, whatever feels good, take a second to find it. And then once you're in that tall neutral position, draw the shoulders up to your ears, roll them around down and back. Draw the shoulders up to your ears, roll them around down and back. Do that one more time, nice and slow. Draw the shoulders up to the ears, roll them around down and back, and then keep the shoulders depressed down. Lift your chin up to the sky. Tuck your chin as far down towards your chest as you can, but keep your shoulders down and back. Lift your chin up to the sky. Tuck your chin down as far as your chin goes. One more time like that. Lift your chin up. Tuck your chin down. As you tuck your chin down, we're going to lift the hands up, interlace the fingers behind the head. So thumbs are going to frame around the neck, or around, like your thumbs are going to be wrapped around like they're reaching towards the ears. Fingers are interlaced, but now we're going to lift the chest, lift the chin. And then as we come in for a little rounding of the back, tuck your elbows in and squeeze them tight around your face. And then lift up, lift your chin, open the elbows wide. Tuck your chin down, but pull the thumbs up as you tuck the chin down. Inhale and lift up, open the elbows wide, lift your chin. Exhale, tuck down, but pull your thumbs up. lift up. We're going to unlace the fingers, whatever hand is your favorite, but we're going to touch right to that nice upper bonus, that top spiny bony process that you might feel sort of protruding out more than the others. Find that bone, and then your hands are going to draw nice bigger circles like you're doing the Vicks vapor rub. So we're just going to bring a little heat right to that space, create a little heat there. One more little rub-a-dub-dub, and then release that hand down, shrug out your shoulders, and we're going to move right into an easy seated forward fold. So think hip hinge, walk your hands out just as far as feels good. Take a moment to find a little space for yourself, and then take a nice big breath. Staying nice and low, walk your hands over to the left. Staying nice and low, walk over to the right. Staying nice and low, walk back to center. Create just enough space. We're going to thread the right hand through, but keeping the spine neutral. So think of it more like you're doing that arm across the chest maneuver. That's the kind of sensation that we're looking for. So left hand is going to extend out. Right hand is going to thread through. Keep your spine as straight as makes sense to you, and then soften your heart down just a little bit. Take a nice big breath. Beautiful. Lift up, create some space, unthread that right arm, and then we're going to switch to the other side. So right hand's going to shoot forward, left hand's going to thread through. Melt your heart down. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Make some space, unthread that arm, walk yourself back up nice and slow. We're going to lean back into the sits bones, swing your legs out so the feet can plant on the ground, and then hands behind you so we can come into reverse table. But we're going to go like light first. So just start to press into your palms, lift your butt up, notice your wrists, notice how your shoulders feel. Set your butt down, reset anything that you need to, or even just twinkle out your fingers or your wrists. And then when you're ready, lift up a little bit higher, come up as high as feels comfortable, and then lower down with control. And then we're going to do 3 more here, maybe just to find a little bit of range of motion. Lift your butt up just as high as feels good. Lower with control. One more time, lift up as high as feels good. Lower with control, and then we're going to move right into a zigzag seat. So swing your legs out to one side, whatever side you like best. And then once you've got your zigzag seat, come forward into a nice big fold. So go as far as feels good. Nice deep fold. Take a nice big breath. Come up nice and slow. We're going to walk right into a twist. So the leg that's in front of you, we're going to rotate to that side. Take a breath. Come out of your twist, but now we're going to lean back a little bit. So think about leaning away from your front knee to start. Lean back, place your hands on the ground, make a little space, and then lift up. And now we're going to turn just a little bit. So now we're facing towards the other knee. Hands come behind you. Lean back just a little bit, make a little space, and then come back up, but keep, so the leg that's in front, that hand is going to stay on the ground, and we're going to do 3 big sweeps. So if you need to cushion your outer knee, take a second to do that. And now we're going to push up into the knees, lift the hips, hips come forward, heart lifts up, and then release it back down nice and slow and controlled. And we'll do that again. Inhale and lift up. Exhale to lower down. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down, lean back into your sits bones, swing your legs out and around so you come to your zigzag seat to the other side. Once you've got your zigzag seat, walk it out into a fold. Go as far forward as feels good to you. Take a breath. Come back up nice and slow and controlled, and then we're going to twist towards that front knee. Come out of your twist and then lean back just a little bit. Come up and out of that lean back, and then face towards your other knee. Lean back just a little bit. Nice. And then come back up, left hand or the front leg, that's the hand that's going to stay on the ground, and we're going to do that big sweep. So we're going to inhale, lift the butt up, lift the heart, exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lift up. Exhale to lower down. One more time, inhale, lift up. Exhale to lower down, and then lean back into your sit bones, swing your legs out in front of you, legs nice and long as you can stand, and then just give your knees a little pop, give your ankles a little wiggle, give your toes a little wiggle. Let all of that come to stillness, but we're going to lift the legs just so that we can slide our hands underneath our calf muscles. So you're going to tuck your hands. I like palms facing down, but you'll arrange your hands in a way that makes sense to you. So tuck your hands underneath your calf muscles, which is going to just force a little bent knee position. And then once you've got your hands tucked under, walk your rib cage upward. So think about doing that little rib cage walk, create some space and length through the front of your body. And then once you feel like you found a little space through the front of your body, keep that space, but soften down just a little bit. And then once you've found that nice spacious forward fold, take 3 nice deep breaths. Beautiful. When you're ready, slowly start to bring yourself up and out of that fold. We're going to spin our legs around, find your way into a tabletop position or come onto all fours. And then as you find your tabletop position, curl both sets of toes under, and then we're going to just move right into it. Pull your butt back towards your heels, shoulders back in line with the wrist, and just take a few times forward and back. Think of this as a little bit of a stretch to the toes and the bottoms of the feet and a little pump to the lymphatic system. Nice. One more time forward and back, and then the next time you come back, see how it feels to sit back on your heels, keep the toes curled under, walk your hands in just a little bit closer. If your feet are feeling any super tense today or anything, this might be too much. You might come forward again, but if it feels good to come all the way up, come all the way up, and then take a nice big breath. Open your heart, lift your chin. We're going to give ourselves a hug, so exhale, right hand on top. Draw the elbows down, round through the back of the body, tuck your chin, take a breath. On your next inhale, open your arms wide, lift your chin. Other hand is going to come on top. Give yourself a little hug, tuck the elbows down, round through the back of the body, tuck your chin. Beautiful. And then lift up, float your hands forward right into your tabletop position. Keep the toes curled under, and we're going to take 3 little presses of the pads of the toes down into the ground. You just want to feel the arch of your foot or the bottom of your foot light up. So you're going to press your toes into the ground and then release. Press your toes into the ground and release. Press your toes into the ground and release. And then this time, pick up your knees, lift your butt up, come to downward facing dog, and then start to pedal out the legs. Bend one knee and press into the opposite heel. Beautiful. One more pedal of each foot. And then in our downward facing dog, we're going to pivot our feet a little bit. So pick up both heels, pivot your heels over to the right. And then once your heels are facing towards the right, press your heels down. Heart melts down. Take a breath. When you're ready, pick up your heels, pivot them all the way over to the other side. So heels are going to pivot to the left. Press your heels down, melt your heart down. Beautiful. Pick up your heels through center, bend your knees, look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to a nice soft ragdoll at the top of your mat. Once you've found your ragdoll hold, grab your elbows and start to sway a little side to side. One more little sway side to side, and then let go of your handhold of your elbows. Bend your knees a lot. We're going to go 3 half forward folds. Inhale, lift up. Exhale and soften down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften down. Bend your knees a lot. Pull your abdominal muscles in. Take your time. Roll up to standing. And then as you come up to standing, just give yourself a second. Get your equilibrium back. Get your clothes adjusted. Get your feet adjusted. But then find your mountain pose at the top of your mat. Toes and knees pointing fairly forward. Once you've found your way here, gaze forward. Anchor your shoulders down. Bring just a little extra energy down into your fingers. So even if you don't normally do like a big spread of the fingers, spread your fingers as wide as you can. And then once you feel a little tension in your palms, keep and hold that tension for a moment. Take a breath. Soften your hands just a little bit, but keep a little active energy in your fingers and your hands. And now lift your toes. Spread your toes as wide as you can. And this time we're going to look down at our toes. So try to drop your toes down or drum the toes down, but slowly and mindfully. So go pinky toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, big toe. Try to keep and maintain that spread of your toes on the ground. It looks a little weird sometimes, but that's what we're shooting for, that weird looking feet. And then we want those toes to spread as wide as they can. That's going to look different on everybody. And then now see if you can lift the arches of your feet, hold that lift, and then draw energy from the soles of your feet all the way up your legs, all the way up through the crown of your head, energy down into your fingers. Again, find that bigger, wider spread. Take a nice big breath here, nice and strong. Awesome. Keep that lifting upward energy from the soles of the feet. Inhale, raise your arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge from your waist, fold down to the ground, but keep the arches lifting if you can. Inhale to half forward fold, lift from the arches. Exhale to soften down, bend your knees, lift from the arches, pull the abdominal muscles in, roll up to standing, roll your shoulders up to your ears or round down and back, but the soles of the feet keep lifting upward. Beautiful. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold, but lift from the arches of your feet. Inhale to half forward fold, lift through the arches of your feet. Exhale to soften down. Lift from the arches of your feet, pull the abdominal muscles in, roll up to standing, roll your shoulders up to your ears, around, down, and back. Do that one more time. Inhale, arms up, look up. Lift from the soles of your feet, bend your knees, hinge from your waist, fold down to the ground. Inhale, half forward fold, lift from the arches of your feet. Exhale to soften down, lift from the arches of your feet, pull the abdominal muscles in, roll your way up to standing, roll your shoulders around, down, and back, and then take a second to just kind of wiggle out your toes, wiggle out your feet, and then find a more soft or natural mountain pose. When you're ready, inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold, knees bent or straight, totally up to you. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step both feet back to down dog. Right leg is going to come up into three-legged dog. We're going to step the right foot forward into a lunge. We're going to step the foot forward, and then we're going to let the knee go past the toe. So we're going to let that knee draw forward just as far as feels good and safe to your knee and to your ankle. Let that back knee drop down. Lift your heart. Lift your gaze. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, we're going to step that foot back to downward facing dog. Take your time. Once you're in your downward facing dog, left leg is going to pick up nice and high. We're going to step that foot through to the top of your mat. So take a moment to find the placement of your foot and then come into that lunge with the knee going past the toe. The back knee can drop down if that feels good. Heart forward, look forward, take a breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, lift back up to downward facing dog. Take your time. Once you've found your downward facing dog, come forward into a plank position or bring your shoulders in line with your wrists. Once you've got your plank position, pause for a moment, broaden your shoulders, push through your heels, reach through the crown of your head. Nice. And then when you're ready, bring your knees down, gently lower down onto your belly, one low cobra here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Come up to downward facing dog. You might go through a table or just come straight up, totally up to you. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Right leg back into that lunge where the front knee goes past the toe. So you're going to bring that right leg back just as far as feels good. Toes tucked or released, totally up to you. Knee down, totally up to you. Heart forward, look forward, take a breath. Lovely. And then when you're ready, plant your palms, step back to downward facing dog. Now we're going to go knees, chest, chin. So we're going to come forward into our planking position and then lower the knees, lower the chest, Lower the chin, scoop forward into your cobra position, and then on an exhale, bring it up to down dog or through a table to down dog. Look forward, walk, step, or hop your feet up to the top of your mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, left leg back. We find that lunge again. Letting that right knee go past the toes. The back knee can touch down or stay lift, totally up to you. Toes tucked or released, totally up to you. Heart lifts, gaze lifts. Take a breath. Beautiful. When you're ready, lifting that back knee up, step back to your downward facing dog. Bring it forward into your plank position. Then we lower knees, chest, chin, scooping forward into our cobra. Exhale up to down dog or through table to down dog. Look forward, walk, step, or hop your feet up to the top of your mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center. We're going to move right into a tree pose from here. So prayer hands together. Transfer your weight onto your favorite foot first. Find your standing position with the toe on the ground, and then see how it feels to bring the foot up to a position that feels sustainable to you. We're going to hold it just a little bit longer than usual. So if you like to position yourself against a wall, do yourself a favor to find the place where you can hang out for a moment. Focus your gaze. Notice your breath. Sometimes as we try to hold onto balance, we grip the shoulders, we tense up the feet, but see if instead of gripping in those places, can you lift from the sole of your foot, find that upward lifting energy, reaching upward through the crown of your head, soften your shoulders, soften your jaw. Three more cycles of breath here if you can hold on. At any point, if you want to put your foot down or place a finger on the wall to give yourself support so you can find and work on building strength in the leg without having to grip in that tension of holding balance. And then when you're ready, wherever you are, go ahead and release that tree pose. Take a second, shake out that standing leg, and then we're going to take it to the other side. So start by finding your transfer of weight. Keep the toe on the ground to start. You might choose to stay with the toe on the ground, but if it feels good, maybe you'll move your foot into a place that feels sustainable. And then once you've got that, give yourself a moment to soften your shoulders, soften your jaw. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully release. If you moved away from the top of your mat, just take a second, come back to it. Find your mountain pose. Anchor down into your feet, reach up through the crown of your head. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up as we sink into our chair. And then exhale, we're going to float the arms down and rise back up. But find that breath connection there. Inhale, sink into your chair. Exhale to come up. And now we're going to add a little bit of integrity to our work. So as you inhale, sink into your chair, lift the soles of your feet. Exhale and come back up. Keeping that lift to the soles of the feet or the arches lifting upward. Inhale as you sink into your chair. Exhale as you rise up. And now we're going to keep the soles of the feet lifting, but curl the tailbone under. Still keeping that breath connect. Inhale as we sink down. Exhale as we rise up. 3 more times through. Find your depth of work. How far you go into your chair, that's totally up to you. Where do you feel the strongest? On your last chair position, if you can, Sink into that chair and hold there. On your next exhale, fold your way down to the ground. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step both feet back to down dog. Right leg is going to come up nice and high into three-legged dog. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open. Beautiful. We're going to step the right foot up to the top of the mat into that knee coming past the toe lunge, or overstepping dragon. That's what we call it in our yin yoga. So come forward into your lunge, let the back knee drop down, let the toes release if that feels good. Knee comes forward, heart lifts, gaze lift. Take a nice big breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, curl the back toes under, pick that back knee up. We're going to shoot that front leg up into three-legged dog. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open. Take that foot and twirl it in circles. Circle in one direction. Circle it the other way. Awesome. And then when you're ready, release that foot down, readjust anything that you need to, but then we're going to take it to the other side. Left leg is going to lift up nice and high. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open. Step that foot through to the top of the mat, knee going past the toe, back knee comes down or stays lifted. That's just whatever feels more comfortable to you. Lift your heart, lift your gaze. Beautiful. When you're ready, curl the back toes under, pick your back knee up. Left leg is going to kick back into that three-legged dog. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open. Circle your foot in one direction. Circle your foot the other way. Nice. And then when you're ready, release that foot down. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands. We're going to come down into our little ball of yarn from here. So start to walk your feet forward. Roll your way down into that little ball of yarn. Tuck your chin to your chest. Take a breath. Take a moment to kind of wiggle around into your toes and get that big toe spread again. So see if you can spread your toes as wide as possible. And then once you feel like your toes are nice and spread on the ground, lift your heart away from your thighs. Lift your fingers away from the floor. Find a little bit of balance here. And then see if it feels good to find just a little extra strength. So we're holding our balance here. Can you lift your butt up away from your heels and find a little space between your butt and your heels? And then when you're ready, settle your butt down. We're going to sit right down onto our butt. We're going to move into a figure four, but we're going to do our little toe stretch. So left leg goes long, right leg comes across, left hand is going to thread underneath. So we're threading our fingers through our toes, doing our little pedicure toe spacer. And then once you've got your fingers through your toes, just give your foot a second, because for some of us that might just feel intense. And then once everything's feeling good, we're just going to take our foot, draw it in circles, go in one direction. Take your foot, draw it in circles, go the other way. Awesome. And then we're going to take our other hand. So your free hand is going to just make a little pinch, maybe around your ankle joint. There's that little space between the two ankle bones. So find a little pinchy space where you feel a little bit of nice sensation. Pinch and squeeze, just hold that little bit of tension and then come back to those circles. Circle in one direction. Circle the other way. And now we're going to wring out the dish towel. So release your fingers from between your toes. Both hands are going to do the work, and we're just going to twist like we're wringing out a dish towel. So we're going to twist one hand in one direction, one hand the other way, move up and down towards the toes and down towards the ankle. Beautiful. One more little twist and turn of that foot, and then we're going to take the heel of our hand and give about 10 good whacks to the center sole of the foot. So take the heel of the hand, give about 10 strikes to the bottom of the foot. Don't hurt yourself, but make it count. And then once you've whacked your foot about 10 times, we're just going to slide that left leg in. So slide the left leg in, press into your palms, lift your heart up towards your shin, take 3 nice deep breaths. Beautiful. Soften your elbows. Send that left leg long. We're going to pick that right leg up and see if we can get a single hand hold. So pick the leg up and then see if you can just wrap your left hand around so that it gets a good handhold that you can keep the leg lifted upward. And then once you've got it, right hand touches down and we're going to roll over onto the glute and then just kind of massage around. So we're rolling around in circles or little wiggles, anything that feels good. But what we're shooting for is like the sciatic and the piriformis all up in there. Sometimes it feels good to just kind of massage it around a little bit and let those muscles just find a little love. If you found a place that is particularly sensational, today we're going to find that place and lean onto it. So find a place that feels more, you find more awareness of your tension or muscles there. Find that space, lean into it, and then just see how soft can you let your shoulders be. Nice. Take one more breath. Come up and off and then release that leg nice and long. Take a second, pop out your knees, wiggle out your ankles, but then we're going to take it to the other side. So left leg is going to come across the right. You're going to thread those fingers between the toes. So right hand underneath the foot, thread your fingers through, and then just give your foot a second. And then once you feel like your foot is feeling good, circle your foot in one direction. Circle your foot the other way. Awesome. And then your other hand, your free hand is going to do that little pinch. So you're going to find a little pinchy space in between those bones of the ankle joint. Pinch in just a little bit and then come back to drawing those circles. Circle in one direction. Circle the other way. Awesome. And then release all of that. Release your release your fingers from your toes and then take the heel of the hand and do about 10 strikes to the sole of your foot. And then once you've given about 10 good strikes to the sole of your foot, do that little dish rag, bringing out the foot, twisting and turning up towards the toes, twisting and turning towards the ankle. Nice. One more little twist and turn, and then when you're ready, lifting up into your figure four. So sliding that right leg in, press into your palms, lift your heart towards your shin. Take one more breath. Soften your elbows, slide the right leg long. We're going to get that single hand hold. So we're going to pick that right leg up, pick the left leg up. Right hand is going to help hold it in place. Keep it lifted as much as you can just to create space and access to those big muscles in the glutes. And then lean over to the left and roll around. So find any movement here that feels good. One side might be very different than the other. So you might find one side has a lot of sensation and one side feels pretty neutral. Now see if on this side, can you find a place that has a little bit more sensation? Lean into that space. Soften your shoulders best you can. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, bring it back in, release that leg nice and long. Take a second, pop out your ankles, wiggle out your knees. We're going to come down onto the ground, but just have your block nearby somewhere that you can access it with a little handhold. So come down onto your back. Take your time as you come down. Once you're down on your back, we're going to take a couple of bridges with a little bit of muscle and tension, and then we'll take a supported bridge. So heels nice and close to the butt, feet about hip width distance apart, hands alongside the hips. We're going to think about keeping the backs of our ribs anchored into the ground. The backs of the ribs will lift slightly, but we want that idea or that intention of the rib cage anchoring down. So see if you can start by just finding that. Anchor your ribs down or imagine the backs of your ribs are pressing into the ground and then release. Press the backs of your ribs down and then release. Press the backs of your ribs down and then release. And now see if you can maintain a little bit of that integrity, keeping the backs of your ribs anchored down. Exhale as you lift your butt up. Inhale to lower down. Exhale to lift up, anchors, ribs anchoring down. Inhale to come back down. Exhale to lift. Inhale to release. Take 2 more just like that. And then as your hips touch down, we're going to grab our yoga block and we're going to do our yoga block on the lowest setting. So low and wide, lift your butt up, slide your block underneath your hips. So we want it underneath the broad hip bones, underneath that nice strong supportive structure. Once you've got your way there, we're going to bring our hands to our front protruding hip bones and we're going to keep our hip bones as level as we can. So there's not going to be a lot of wiggling and wobbling on the hip space. We're going to lift. We're going to alternate taking some knee lifts or toe taps, however you like to call them, but we're going to focus on the intention of keeping the hip points nice and level. So we're going to engage our core muscles, our abdominal muscles to help support and keep the hips in a nice even position. One more time each leg, or even yourself out. And then as both feet touch down to the ground, relax your hands out your sides, relax your abdominal muscles, relax that triangle of muscles in that front pelvic area. So think pubic bone, front protruding hip bones, and all the pelvic floor muscles. So as much letting go as you can find here. So even if, especially if you have a tendency to want to hold a little tension in that region so that you can hold pee, you want to let everything go. The bladder is slightly lifted off the pelvic floor, so you should be good and safe to let go of any tension that you're holding here and do a little bit of an intentional work here. So soften that pelvic floor, soften the tops of your thighs, soften your calves and your shins. Let your feet be as soft as they can. Shoulder heads are relaxed, and take 3 nice deep breaths here. Wonderful. When you feel ready, start to just wiggle your toes a little bit, let everything come back to life. Press into your feet, lift your butt up away from your block, move the block out of the way. Once your butt touches back down to the ground, we're going to pull both knees up to the chest, just a light little squeeze, but then we're going to move our legs right up into, start with that legs up the wall sensation. So we're going to float the legs upward towards the sky, keep a micro bend in the knees, but now we're going to take the legs wide. So you're going to let your legs open out as wide as your legs go. Start with a loose and relaxed position. So there's a softness to my feet, there's a softness to my knees. Hands are going to find the inner thighs, and we're going to let just the weight of our hands. So we're not going to try to push the legs down or anything like that, but just let the weight of your hands rest on your thighs. Keep your knees slightly bent, keep your feet slightly soft. Now we're going to keep our hands on the inner thighs, but we're going to try to push the inner thighs into the hands, and the hands are now going to create a resistance. So tense up your hands, push your inner thighs into your hands, and your hands are going to create a resistance, and hold that resistance for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that tension, grab the outsides of your thighs, help your legs come together, bend your knees, keep your hands to the outsides of the thighs, and now thighs are going to push out and hands are going to resist. So you're going to push your thighs out into your hands are going to create a resistance. You might feel your muscles shake. Hold that tension for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that tension. Bring your right knee into your chest. Left leg is going to go nice and long. We're moving right into supine twist. Take that right knee over and across the body. Right arm opens out wide. Head turns to the right. Come back to your breath. Breathe into your rib cage. In through your nose and out through your nose. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, pull the right knee into your chest, bring the left knee into meet, one light little squeeze, and then switch to the other side. Left leg pulls in, right leg goes nice and long. Left knee comes over and across the body just as far as feels good. Left arm opens wide, head turns to the left if that feels good, and then come back to your breath. When you feel ready, pull the left knee into your chest, bring the right knee into meet. Just a kind of loose hand hold here, and we're going to just turn the head a little side to side. So we're going to keep the knees slightly in towards the chest, but it doesn't need to be extreme. And then just start to find a little turn of the head side to side. But as you do this gentle bit of work here, ask yourself, where would be your best Shavasana? Would it feel good to come to constructive rest? Would it feel good to take a more traditional shape? And then if you're in a cold space, maybe you grab your blanket or put your socks on. So get yourself set up and then start to find your way into that restful position. You always have the option to stay in your Shavasana just as long as you like. We are going to finish with 3 Uddiyana Bandhas, but in this supine position. So we're going to stay lying on our backs, but we're going to walk our feet in just so that we're in that like bridge preparatory position. So if you had that more extended leg position, maybe take a second to wake up your toes, wake up your ankles, and then walk your feet into that bent knee position. Hands on the belly or hands down on the ground. That's going to be just whatever helps you find that work. But it's that drawing in of the abdomen and up. So we're going to find our breath first. So take an inhale. Exhale, and at the end of the exhale, you'll suck the abdominal muscles in, hold that tension for a moment. And then when you're ready to, inhale and relax the abdominal muscles. Exhale, at the end of the exhale, suck the belly in. When you feel ready, inhale and release. Exhale, at the end of the exhale, suck the belly in. When you're ready, inhale and release, and then just start to wiggle some things around. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your shoulders, wiggle your knees, and then start to find your way up to a comfortable seated position. So maybe coming up to Sukhasana if you like Sukhasana, any other seat that lets you sit up nice and tall. Nice. And then once you found your way up to that comfortable seated position, we're going to go hands on the heart. We're going to put that little bit of pressure on. Take the skin and connective tissue with you. Draw some circles in one direction. Once you've got those circles going on, maybe close your eyes down. Feel the movement of skin. Feel the movement of connective tissue underneath your hands. And then if you're going in one particular direction and it feels good to do so, reverse directions and go the other way. Lovely. And then when you're ready, release all of that. Prayer hands to heart center, hands in Anjali Mudra, thumbs to sternum. Bow your head to your heart. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for all of your hard work. Then breathe in a little extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your day and share with everyone you see. And when you feel ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. Happy, happy Thursday.